We're living through a massive shift right now, and it's all because of AI. But this isn't just about cool new tech, it's way deeper than that. We're talking about a fundamental change in what knowledge itself is even worth.
For basically all of human history, this was the deal. Having access to information was the ultimate source of power. Think about it. A university degree, an apprenticeship, even just getting into a good library, these things were like walls around a fortress. They gave you a real edge because the knowledge itself was so hard to get your hands on.
But that world, well, it's gone. It's completely over. The rules of the game have been totally rewritten, and trying to play by the old ones just doesn't work anymore.
Okay, so let's really dig into what happened here. The most important thing to get is that AI didn't just tweak the rules a little bit. No, it changed the very physics of knowledge. It fundamentally rewired how information works and moves through our world.
So what does that actually look like in the real world? Well, it means knowledge has become a commodity. Yeah, just like wheat or electricity or internet bandwidth. Let's break down what that really means.
So, a commodity has these 4 classic traits. And if you really look at knowledge today, thanks to AI, it checks every single box. AI makes information super abundant. It can standardize an explanation on pretty much any topic. Copying an answer? That's basically free. And because of all that, the price, what it costs to get an answer, is heading straight for 0.
And this is why it happens so fast. Before AI, every single step in sharing knowledge was slow and expensive. You had to discover it, write it, edit it, print it. It was a whole process. But now, AI makes discovery happen at lightning speed, it automates the writing, and things like teaching or translating become instantaneous. The cost to make one more copy of an explanation is, well, it's practically nothing.
This quote just nails it. I mean, seriously, picture yourself standing on a beach. You're surrounded by billions of grains of sand. So what's the value of owning just one single grain? It's basically 0, right? Well, that's what has happened to raw facts and basic information. So if knowledge is the new sand, what's the new diamond? Because this is what always happens, right? Whenever one thing becomes incredibly abundant, something else, usually the thing you need to use it, suddenly becomes rare and extremely valuable. Okay, so this is the big trap you've got to avoid. A lot of people are still playing by the old rules. They're still trying to sell the sand. You see it everywhere. Gated PDFs, basic online courses, trying to copyright simple content. All of it is based on this outdated idea that knowledge itself is still scarce. It really is the perfect analogy. You're trying to sell bottled air. Sure, you might get a few people to buy it for a little while, maybe because of some fancy branding. But you can't build a real lasting business when the very thing you're selling is available to everyone, everywhere, for free.
And that brings us to maybe the most important question for anyone trying to build something today. If information is everywhere, what's the thing that AI can't just spit out? What has actual value now?
So these are the new diamonds. First, context. Knowing which piece of knowledge actually matters in a specific, messy, real-world situation. Then, causality. Truly understanding what causes what. Third is timing. Knowing not just what to do, but when to do it. Fourth is trust. Knowing which people, which systems you can actually rely on. And finally, integration. The ability to weave all that knowledge into a process that just works.
This all leads us to a really powerful new way to think about creating value. We have to stop thinking about selling knowledge. Instead, we need to start thinking about building a factory for outcomes. The whole focus shifts from just knowing things to actually doing things. And the change is massive. It's no longer about just having the information. It's about giving someone a decision advantage. It's not about your credentials that say you're an expert. It's about the execution leverage you provide. The value is moved from the raw ingredients to the finished meal.
Let's walk through this factory metaphor because it's really helpful. Think of all that free knowledge as raw iron ore. It's everywhere, and it's cheap. Your intelligence, whether it's human or AI, that's the smelter that refines it. But the real magic, the part that creates value, is the machine shop. That's execution. That's where you build something real. And the finished product? That's the outcome people will actually pay you for.
And this is the bottom line, the core business lesson. You can spend your life trying to sell the raw iron ore, the basic knowledge, but it's a tough, low-margin business. The real compounding value comes from owning the factory, the system that reliably turns that cheap ore into valuable products.
And that brings us to the biggest takeaway here. The new form of capital isn't knowledge anymore. It's not about who has the most facts memorized. The true differentiator, the new capital, is execution.
So moving forward, you're going to see two groups of people, two clear paths. The first group takes all this abundant knowledge and builds it into systems, into processes, into actual products that do things. The second group just keeps trying to sell individual answers. They're selling the raw material.
The economic results of these two paths could not be more different. The first group builds assets that grow and compound in value over time. The second group, they're in direct competition with a machine that works 24/7 for free. And that's a fight you just can't win.
Now, if you're listening to all this and it feels a little uncomfortable or even threatening, that's totally normal. This isn't just some abstract economic theory. For a lot of us, it's deeply personal.
That feeling of resistance is there because whole professional identities were built on being the person who knows, the expert, the consultant, the teacher. Their value was in having and sharing information that was hard to get. And when that information isn't scarce anymore, the very foundation of that identity starts to shake.
So here's the final takeaway, the big idea, in two simple parts. First, knowledge is no longer power. It's been demoted. It's still essential, but now it's just the fuel you put in the engine.
And second, the engine itself, the ability to build, to integrate, to deliver results, that is the new capital. Execution is where value is built now. So we'll leave you with this one question to really think about. As you look at your own work, your business, your career, ask yourself this. In a world where answers are free, are you building a factory that creates real outcomes, or are you still just trying to sell the ore?